Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jesse, your DM.
Cody playing Lazarus.
Brennan playing Diz.
Mike playing Nim.
Britt playing Kenna.
And we are Double Doubles and Dragons. We're a group of goofy Canadians that have gotten together to play a little D&D. Sometimes we will say things that are inoffensive. We mean them as jokes, of course, and they're certainly funny to us, but some people may find this offensive. If you do, we apologize, but we don't want any hate mail about it. So just don't listen, okay? Let's jump right into the action. Welcome back, everybody. Quick recap of where we're at. Mary has been rescued. The party has managed to escape Wallace's manor, and not with too much difficulty, mind you, just kind of walked out the front door, really. And you guys have been spending some time trying to figure out what's going on with Mary. She's reacting very strangely to magic. She still seems to only be semi-conscious, if conscious at all. And there's honestly a lot going on. So we'll get right back into it. So you guys are still in that room with Mary. You've had a little bit of time and you've been kind of thinking things over to yourselves. You hear a soft at the door.
Who is it?
It's me. It's Lil.
I go to the door, crack it open just a little bit, make sure it's her.
I've sent out some people to take a look. It also occurred to me that you guys might need some private space for a little while, and obviously having a room on the same floor as where a bunch of other people stay is probably not going to be ideal. I do have a special area that we used to use back when I was an adventurer. It's just a couple of rooms together in the basement, basically, that you could stay in. You could give, sorry, what was her name again?
Mary.
You could give Mary her own room. There's 4 other rooms down there as well. You could each have your own room as well. And it's secluded. We only use it for storage now.
Is there any other entrances or exits out of that place?
It's just straight up into the back kitchen.
Yeah, that would probably help out quite a bit, thank you.
Okay. We'll need to get her down there, preferably without anybody noticing. Do you have any way of either disguising her or maybe hiding her?
Actually, we couldn't risk invisibility. It probably not work.
You just pass the trace.
Any magic might not work, though.
Yes, I mean, honestly, even just like a cloak, we could put her on Lazarus's back, and people would be like, look, it's a dragonborn with a hump.
Like, my backpack's big enough for her.
Probably.
Lazarus can simply carry her down in a pack.
Alright. It's probably the best idea.
Alright.
Okay.
So I kind of like, I guess I go over to her and I'll haul off my cloak and kind of like bundle her in my cloak as best I can and
Yeah.
set her into the backpack.
Okay.
Today, don't be scared of the Dragonborn. He's friendly.
Very spooky.
Okay. You get her into the package. She's still more or less unconscious. And Lil leads you guys out of the room, through to the back kitchen, and down into that basement area. You can definitely tell it doesn't look like it's been used very much, but it's definitely, there's like kind of a main room where there's a table set up. It looks like maybe it was kind of at one point a meeting room, and then there's 5 rooms off of that. She just kind of, me and my old group actually used to sort of hold meetings down here, but it hasn't been used in some time.
Thank you very much.
You should all be all right down here. For your own safety, I think it's probably best if I make sure nobody wanders down here. So I'm going to lock the door, but it opens from your side fine. Just make sure you lock it on your way out as well.
Of course.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Take care. I'll let you know once I hear anything.
Thank you, Lil.
Okay. And she leaves you guys down in the basement. Kind of a little private area to yourselves.
Well then, hasn't this been a day? Speaking of, Master Dis, Lazarus has something for you.
Oh, a present?
I'll take up that little thieves' hand note we had and hand it to him.
Mm-hmm.
This was on an assassin and also protected with magic.
Let's have a look. Let's see.
Okay, you pop it open, and again, the thieves' cant here is a little different than you're used to, but you're growing acclimated to it quite quickly. The gist of the note seems to be something along the lines of, first team is in place, possible they may fail, backup team has been assigned, no progress by 11 a.m., move in.
Yep. First team is in place. It's possible they'll fail. Second team is ready to go in. Was that it?
Yeah.
And then 11 a.m. was the go time for the first team.
Correct.
On one of the assassins who killed Lazarus, I found a note, and it just said 11 a.m. So that must have been first team.
Any markings on here that would indicate to me from where it came from, or is there any style that's like, so in the Thieves' Cant, is there any way people kind of like make it their own in like, you know, certain symbols having their like little flair to them?
No examples that you've seen just walking around town. If you had more samples of Thief Cant writing directly, maybe, but not on the symbols that people scroll outside.
On this note, does it seem like it's basically the same as the other Thieves' Cant I've seen, or is there any like uniqueness to it?
Thieves' Cant in writing always looks a little different because most Thieves' Cant that's scrolled on buildings is either like etched into them or something along those lines. So the lines tend to be much more straight because you're kind of scratching them in. Whereas when you're writing, there's a certain amount of flowing that happens when you write something. So there is that present, but you're not sure if that indicates a direct signature or just the fact that it's written so you can just cut corners a little bit with how you write it.
Right.
Since we're on this topic, I would probably pull up the pill that I got off of one.
The little pouch.
Mm-hmm, little pouch. And I would like to investigate.
Okay. I think you may have to medicine check it actually to see if you can figure out what it's made of.
That's even better.
What are your herbalism kit?
Yeah, exactly.
Fertilizers.
Okay. So you kind of, you pull it out and you unfold it very gently and you begin trying to diagnose what it is, while obviously avoiding some of the things that you know it may be for. Like, you can't exactly taste test it if it's supposed to be a poison. So you kind of do your best based on color, based on smell. Smell especially is quite helpful for you, possibly because you shift into animals so much. But when you kind of give it a smell, there's a couple of scents that are very familiar to you, or at least feel familiar. There's a certain... It smells both bitter and sour at the same time, and there's a sickly sweet smell to it as well, which leads you to believe that it's at the very minimum a mixture of 3 different poisons, very likely witch hazel, hemlock, and something else. So it's quite... even just those 3 together would be ridiculously potent.
Well, this was definitely a suicide pouch.
Is there any chance of tracing where anything may have come from?
I don't know.
You'd have to start taking a look around to see what kind of herbs
Yeah.
are around. I mean, you guys walked around the farming run a fair bit, but you weren't looking for herbs at the time.
But I have said that over this time that I wanted to get more
Yeah.
into my herbs. And
I will say as well, water hemlock especially, only really grows in marshy areas. You haven't seen evidence of that at all.
Well, we never actually.
where?
Farmer Dan's place. The swamp. Perhaps.
Perhaps. At the very least, there's
That's
been
all-
no swamps
That's the one swamp we know
inside
so
of the
far.
stronghold, which may suggest that whoever was getting this is capable of procuring things from outside the wall, one way or another.
While Kenna's investigating that, I'll pop out the vial of blue powder that I had for Master Discomfort's belongings
Mhm.
and be like, you want to see if you can identify this as well?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Medicine check man.
go ahead.
24.
Okay. You take a look at it much the same that you did to the other, trying to be very ginger and careful with it. But you're really not getting much. It doesn't have a particular smell. It doesn't even really seem to have a texture that would indicate anything. In a moment of desperation, you even try taking a very small kernel and lightly touching it to your tongue just to see if you get numbness or anything else. But it honestly seems completely inert. Even the color, you don't have any flavor or smell that would explain the color. It leads you to believe it's most likely almost entirely magically based, rather than being some sort of natural concoction. There's just nothing for you to go on.
Pass it along.
Alright. I'll ritual cast Detect Magic then.
Okay. In the meantime, what have you done with Mary? Did you kind of give her a room, or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Supposed
do
to
I give her a separate one,
unpack
or
her.
keep her
Yeah.
with one of us?
But she's still kind of unconscious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there cots or any sort of beds or benches?
Yeah, each of the rooms has a bed in it.
But do you want to make sure that if something like suddenly happens to her, that
Yeah, I'll put her in a
we
room,
could just have
but
a
I'll have the
person
door
in
open.
there at all times.
at all times.
Or you could leave the door open like Lazarus
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, Lazarus has got put her in one of the rooms. He's gonna standing out the door.
Okay.
And like talking to you guys and watching her.
Okay.
And we have potions of clairvoyance if we really wanted to.
We're gonna save that until it breaks everything Jesse has for her.
Like I don't plan for you guys to have clairvoyance if I gave it to you. Actually, to be completely honest, I'm surprised you haven't used it already.
I know, I've thought about it on a few
Mm.
occasions.
So what we can do with
It's
it?
Could've used
beginning
it
to
in
fear you had
Wallace's.
forgotten you had it.
Nope.
No, it's
I
just-
forgot.
We only have a single use.
That's right, it is only a single use.
You forgot? I've brought it up multiple times.
Yeah, no, I know Ken has mentioned it. It's just been a couple of weeks
Yeah.
since you've mentioned it.
Also, I realized that after this whole level up happens, if we still need to downtime activity, Lazarus can start doing this.
Oh, yeah. He gets plank growth too, or
Oh,
he
sweet.
can. Okay, so Nim, you detect magic, and you're looking at the vial. It's some sort of enchantment magic that's been woven into it. You do notice one thing. When you had looked at Mary, there was a very specific way that the magic had been threaded throughout her entire body. When you look at this, there's a certain mirroring of it to a certain degree. You get the feeling from it, just based on your experience and the things that you know about magic, that it may very well be some sort of inoculation or something meant to slow down the progress of something, or maybe even protect somebody from contracting something. It seems very defensive in nature.
Which vial was this?
The blue vial that he took off Master Discomfort.
Okay.
That's a separate potion, right?
Yeah, because and then the one I have is not the same side. The one-
No.
Yeah.
But you've got the
like-
powder.
I have the actual product.
Yeah, you have the red finished product. He had
What,
something that was being carried by him directly.
Well, maybe because Master Discomfort was around all this stuff and he didn't have the same reactions the girls did.
maybe it was something in the place that just like the air caused it, and then you had to be inoculated.
Perhaps
Yes.
breathing the dust over a period can cause stuff.
I mean,
Maybe we tried giving some of this to Mary?
yeah, that might work. Or do we try to replicate it first?
Can't you spend time and figure out exactly what it does?
Can I with magic?
You can attempt to identify it. That's no guarantee.
Okay, I'll try to Arcana check it, I guess.
Arcana check will just... He's talking about identifying it over a long rest.
Okay, yeah, I can try.
Arcana check would basically just try to give you a little more detail as well.
Okay, well, I'll try over the next long rest to try and identify what it does before we go pouring it down the middle of his throat.
I feel like that's the paladin. Be like, maybe we should check the powder first.
Please.
Before dosing little girls. I don't know why Lazarus said little girls quite so.
Aggressively?
Yeah. There's definitely a certain growl to it. Okay, speaking of long rests, it is getting later in the day. It was earlier before, but a lot has happened, and you've spent some time hiding and trying to figure out Mary's condition. Like, it's definitely getting a little later.
Did we speak to Skinner today?
I mean, we could.
We probably should.
Yeah,
Just
probably best.
like, yeah, we ran. We made a tactical retreat.
Because what was Skinner having you look into?
Shadow Spray.
Yeah.
Red Shadow, which is the guys who gave us.
So wait, the Blade Shadow told us to steal the shit from the pen.
No.
Or
They're the
I
ones that
got
hired
the
us to
opposite way.
protect him.
Right, so the Blade Shadow wanted us to protect them, and Skinner wanted us to...
No, the Red Door wants you to
Red
steal.
Door.
Jesus Christ.
The
Red Door wanted us to
Thieves
steal the
Guild
shit.
wants
What
you
did
to steal
Skinner
it.
want from us?
He
then?
wants us to bring down the Blade Shadow from inside
Yeah.
and give him reports from
So
him.
we need somebody else to bring down Skinner now.
You know what? It's not nested enough. Could Lil give us a quest to bring down Skinner by pretending we're doing what Skinner wants?
It has to be in the chain to really make it confusing. So it's going to have to be somebody already in the chain.
The Thieves Guild will ask you to bring you.
Yeah, that's right.
The Mages Guild.
It's up to you guys if you want to do that. Is there anything else people want? Like, are you good with just heading straight into a long rest?
Yeah.
All right, so Nim is going to try to identify the blue powder. Does somebody want to try to identify the red powder?
Would my God puzzle have been done at this time, or could I say my downtime? was
You
trying to do
would
that?
still be doing your god
All
puzzle
right,
at
I'll,
this time.
Lazarus will chill at the ladder and listen.
Okay, chill at the entrance.
Yeah.
I'll be working on my God puzzle while hanging. Like, I'll use the time I spend watching Mary, because I guess we're setting up watches now for it.
Probably.
And I'll do that kind of basically going over the God puzzle after watching her for a little bit, just make sure she's okay, and then start doing it like right in the room with the thing. And
Can I get the place at Detect Magic Suite too?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you cast Detect Magic by saying whatever you want.
See what's already not seen.
And you cast Detect Magic on the area. There are faint tracings. Like, when you cast Detect Magic, you can almost see, like, the leftover places where maybe spells were anchored before. But it very much gives you the impression of, A, nothing's been active in here for quite some time, and B, whatever was active here before, it looks mostly on the defensive end. If Lil was using it as a hideout, so to speak, then chances are it was defensive in nature.
There's nothing like... No random scribble is staring at us right now.
No, certainly not. Certainly not.
That would
I
be-
would definitely let you know if you cast Detect Magic and suddenly there was just this ball staring at you.
Like, how about we're found?
Oh boy.
And we ran. That would definitely get us out of the stronghold.
Okay. So,
Maybe we could escape through the hole in the stronghold.
I mean, there is a big hole.
Yeah, but who knows where that's going to go?
Well, I mean, you don't really like it here.
It's like, what was it, for Ragnarok? The Devil's Anus?
That's what we call that.
Oh,
Okay.
it was called that when I picked it.
So, everybody heads into their long rest. People are working on their various activities. I need a perception check from everybody.
12 for me.
18.
Okay.
19.
Okay. So, the long rest proceeds as expected until about halfway through Nim's watch. Nim, during your watch, you nod off ever so slightly, having expended quite a bit of your energy trying to identify this blue dust. And as your eyes kind of flutter back open, you notice that Mary isn't in the bed anymore.
Oh, Jesus.
You take a look around really quickly, and she has moved to right next to you, and is kind of half leaning against you.
Does she look...
As you start to move, like you kind of come to yourself, you notice that she does seem to be awake, like her eyes are open and she's just kind of staring at you. When she notices that you're moving around a little bit, she gives you kind of that, "My hero, you came for me."
I mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah. That's all you can say to someone who you just rescued?
This is him.
Oh my god.
She leans in a little closer. They were doing terrible things to me. Terrible things.
That's why I had to come save you.
You won't let them do that to me again, will you?
Well, what were they doing to you?
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Nim, for being Nim.
Yes.
Horrible, horrible things. So much pain. You'll stop them from doing that again, right?
I mean, were they just like whipping you and shit?
Among other things. She kind of like, you can see she's like starting to cry now.
This is so painful.
What other things?
She's totally like, she's completely crying. She's I don't know, hurting me and taking blood, and it just hurt. It hurt so much.
Well, I assure you, they will never do that to you again.
I'm really glad to hear you say that. I don't want them to do that to me again. I need you to help me. Okay. She just nods, and she goes, I'm happy you found me. And she walks back to her bed and kind of curls up.
Nim walks over and kind of like tucks her in and is like, sorry that I couldn't help you with that thing.
God, if he didn't have an inspiration,
Oh my god.
he would get an inspiration. Oh my god, that was the most awkward shit.
painful.
That's so much awkwardness.
Hold on,
I can't even.
Okay, Nim's social awkwardness striking hard. Okay, the rest of the long rest progresses uneventfully. And
for the rest of us.
it's morning now.
God, I wish Nim was awake. Just fucking die laughing outside the door.
So none of us heard any of that?
None
No.
of you heard any of that.
Even with how perceptive?
Just
We've all
Nim.
different rooms.
Yep. And you're gonna have to trust Nim on his rendition of what happened.
Okay, so you guys wake up. Obviously, some of you have done some work over the night, so I assume you kind of all come out into the main room. When you all wake up, Mary is already awake. And she's at the table, and she's eating. It seems like somebody's brought her food, at some point very early on in the morning.
I want to look as I go by and make sure she's not eating, like, weird shit.
Seems to be eating normal stuff, and normally.
I'll also just try to greet her normally. So are you gonna...
I was gonna just say, good morning, Mary. How are you doing
Lazarus
this
is even
morning?
better.
No. She just, good morning.
Same thing as Kenna. Just greet her good morning. See if are you doing okay today? You feel better?
I'm okay.
How are you?
Ruffle her hair,
Okay.
knowing that her like previous father figure was like a drow as well.
Yeah, she kind of laughs a little.
Is there anything we could get you?
I'm still just really hungry.
You're just really hungry. Okay, we can
Yeah.
get you some food. More.
Okay. The lady already came down once, but I'm almost done what she gave me.
Okay, I'll send her a message.
What did I figure with the blue powder?
So when you looked at the blue powder, your initial instinct was right. The blue powder essentially appears to be an inoculation of some kind, meant to offer temporary protection from something very specific. It very directly blocks off certain channels of the body. It stops certain things from being absorbed by your nose. It stops certain things from being absorbed through the skin. It's a very specific, and it only has about a week-long duration before a new dose would be required.
And do I know? I guess I could assume it's like this red dust, the magical.
It's a safe assumption. The blue powder itself doesn't have any specific reference in the spell work that he uses about what it's protecting from. It's more about how the body protects against intrusion in certain ways.
I suppose I'll mention for Dis to replace his water skin before he forgets.
Oh yeah, because I gave it to that guy, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Didn't we
Good
have
call.
extras?
You do have extras, I think.
We gave all the extras back to the Fire Brigade. No, we still have all the extras from the Fire Brigade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had them all.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, can I get an extra?
I think that means each of us have two.
Oh yeah,
So
then
you
I'll
still
just.
have one.
Oh, don't worry, I still got.
Alright, no, we're good.
We're good.
I would also just make sure it's cool with everyone. Would you guys rather me go upstairs and tell them you need more food, or do you want me to call her on the ring? I don't really trust her ring.
Maybe we should just use the ring because she wants us to stay down here.
I mean, I can go up as a mouse.
That would work.
Sure.
Then how do you communicate with her?
I bring her a note attached to my back.
How do you know she doesn't just step on you?
Messenger rats.
Well, she did.
Stop,
Just
stop,
be a
stop,
county.
stop.
I can also go up to her, hide, be like, you need some more food, turn back into a mouse, and come back down. I don't know. I don't know if someone's listening on our rings.
Perhaps something she may not expect. But still small.
Cockroach.
Can't change it.
Your D&D's very specific about not letting you turn into insects.
Probably some bullshit ways to do it.
Are there any small critters you could turn into not around here?
They're around here?
Something that might catch her?
It's even snakes.
It'd be hard to sneak up as a
Can it be
snake,
a
though.
cat?
Do a history check.
Could it be a cat?
No.
Did you say no or meow?
I think you could be a cat.
I think it could be
It's
a
a
cat.
beast.
Yeah, there's a cat.
Yeah, it should be low enough challenge ratings.
It's like two health, 1 health.
Yeah.
Yeah, we remember there was a specific time somebody else turned into a cat.
And then got daggered.
That'll be in the history recordings later.
Hello.
I can be a cat.
Yeah, whatever works.
So I
What?
guess Lazarus unhooks the thing and peeks it up so you slink out?
Hold on,
I
I'll
need
write
a
you a
note
note.
first. I need a note.
I'm gonna write-
I can write a note before I turn into a cat. Hey, Lil, you need more food, please. Thank you.
Wait, correction. Sup, Lou? Gotta be gangster. She's an adventurer.
Former adventurer.
Former adventurer, she knows the lingo. I assume Kenna gives me that look. And then
Yeah,
transforms.
the look she's doing right now with the nose pinching
It's like,
and the
Jesus
weary
Christ.
eyes. Exactly that look.
P.S. Sorry about the arrow in the knee.
God. Anyways, yes, I'll change it to a cat. I'll attach that. Well, I guess it'll have to be attached to me afterwards.
Yeah.
Just put it in your mouth.
I can grab it.
Okay.
Eat up, Kenna.
I
And
bite him.
Kenna,
Jesus. Get us some of that blue powder.
actually, I guess Nim, have you explained to them what the blue powder did?
Yep. I
Okay.
explained everyone.
Kenna, in the meantime, you slink upstairs as a cat. Lil's pretty on the ball. So, she's kind of like, a cat with a note in its mouth. That's interesting. And yeah, a couple of minutes later, she'll bring some food down to you.
Skirt back down and meow at the door.
The stray cat out here. I'll, if I'm at the door, I'll just crack the door again, let her in.
Okay.
I assume I'm kind of watching the door since I was the one who talked to Lilwyn.
Yeah.
She's not gonna watch me.
All right. As Kenna comes down, still in cat form, Mary is kind of like, "Aw, a cat."
I'll stay as a cat and let her play with me for a little bit.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
super friendly.
So
I nuzzle right into her.
you hand
She's super
hand
friendly.
Kenna-
Kenna bites me.
you hand the cat that just bit you over to Mary. You're like, she's very friendly, and Mary's like, so cute, and she goes to pet you once, and you just immediately unshift.
In her lap?
Yeah.
Well, that's never happened before.
And immediately she's just kind of like, oh, hi, Kenna.
I'm so sorry, Mary. I scramble up. Can we try that again?
That is
Sure.
unusual.
Okay. So I turn back into a cat.
Okay.
I crawl up onto her lap.
Okay. And she kind of immediately, oh, just pet her again? Okay. And she goes to pet you again, and you just immediately unshift.
Whoa.
Wow,
She can unshift me.
that's different.
Very weird.
I feel kind of bad, but I'm not really hungry anymore. So maybe somebody else could eat my food?
You're not hungry anymore?
No.
Do you feel any different other than that?
I feel better, I guess.
When did you get unhungry?
Just now.
Alrighty.
Man, I wish we had the book.
Maybe we should try something. Maybe we should give her some of the blue powder and then cast some magic near her and see if it has any effects.
That's just
Why would we
child
do that?
experimentation.
I
Yeah.
mean, doesn't sound like a bad idea.
I mean, like, there are ways to figure out what's going on, and child experimentation is definitely one of the only available ones.
What else are we supposed to do?
We have to put this from a scientific
maybe
angle.
we wait for some of Lil's people to come and help us, and maybe they have some explanation, instead of trying to give her some strange, messed up things and see what happens.
We have a powerful magic user right here.
The kid...
I mean, really what the powder's meant for is to, like, prevent this from happening, but...
Oh, did you get it off the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he took it off of his dead body.
But remember, we might need to mass produce this in the future. Like, what if this goes... I'm trying to think of what the words... I was going to say goes viral. What if
That
this...
would be a reason to hold on to inoculation if something
But-
happens that we need to reproduce it.
Do you think using a small amount would impact trying to remake more of it later, or do you think we...
Well, I mean, this was meant for, like, an adult-sized drow, and she's, like, an 8-year-old girl, so we could probably get away with using, like, a little bit of it.
Let's see what the effects are. Or not what the effects are, but see if it helps her at all.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's more of, like, an inoculation against these effects.
But you said that it worked by preventing it from entering the body, correct?
Yeah.
May it be too late?
Probably too late.
Could it cause any more harm? Do you think? I'm in a position to say that.
I mean, we don't know if it would counteract any of the effects or anything.
It does seem to be linked to her life force.
Clearly.
Did he have any more of the blue vials on him? Because I remember... Or did I even see him take it?
I
would
think
have.
you were there when he looted
Yeah,
him,
because it would have been after he was dead.
But that was the only vial he had on him.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
But it only lasts for a week, according to his checks, so he must have had more somewhere.
And you mentioned it lasted for a week, right?
I'm sure he did, but it went up into a pillar
And then,
of light.
so it's been...
They
so it's
searched
got
most of that
probably
building.
like 6 days left on it. Ish? 5 days?
It only lasts a week once you take it.
Oh, once you take it.
Oh,
Okay.
stop
So it's the
there.
effects they're in effect for a week.
Yeah.
Have you ever... I'll ask may I see that for a second? And I'll just... Mary, have you ever seen this when you were in captivity? I tried to say it light, like when I mentioned the captivity.
She looks kind of guarded at it, and she just kind of... That's one of the things the bad man used.
How?
He would, drink it before he came down to hurt us.
Did you see anybody else ever take it? Or was it just the bad man?
Perhaps.
If he had people visiting, they would take it.
Bastard! You didn't give a shit!
Shit. You realize that powder is all in the air now.
Unless it got ignited, but we could have
How many
knocked that
days?
powder all over the marketplace now.
Oh my god, you fucked up this marketplace.
Twice.
So bad.
Or we'll get the knight in again. You can clean this
We might have to escape the stronghold.
We haven't killed Shane that way yet.
Fucking hell.
It's been so long.
He's
Forgot.
the least of our fucking worries right
No, he's
now.
the-
Or he's all of your worries.
Just by Jesse's grace, that at some point, when we find like some big bad noble we have to fight, he's just blinded in chainmail just for reasons.
Oh, probably.
Easy.
I knew it.
I knew he's like the most trustworthy guy ever. Just like, I knew it was him. Okay, what do you want to do?
So she saw the blue powder, but only the bad people. So it's and this powder. I pull up the actual material they wanted to make. I hand the blue vial back to him, and I'll pull up the red.
When you
label.
pull out the red vial, she backs up so hard she hits the wall.
Like, it's okay. We're not gonna hurt you. You know. I kind of like second guess myself. I guess when I'm looking at him, like, what is little girl gonna know about the manufacturing of this?
She's looking at it like she's just terrified.
Have you ever seen this being used? Or just created?
She kind of like, she's like looking at you and she kind of like, she looks over at Nim.
Nim as in like a protector type of way?
Yeah, kind of like she's nervous, like she's not sure what to say.
When I'm noticing, I'll just put it away again. But, like, have you ever seen anything like that? It could hurt other people, so.
I heard them talk about it sometimes.
Do you remember anything they said?
Just that it was supposed to help with bringing in new people. Sorry, new things.
New things.
He didn't say people.
Did he ever mention these things in the other points? Or did anybody?
Just always that they were trying to bring in new things.
Nim wants to take like a piece of paper that Kenna had and like draw on the back and draw like the circle with the triangle and the dot
Okay.
and just go like show it to Mary and say, "Have you ever seen this?"
She kind of looks at it for a few minutes and she starts to shake her head no, but then she kind of like her eyes kind of open up a little bit more. Maybe. It didn't look exactly like that though.
What was different?
It didn't have the dot in the middle. There was another triangle in the middle.
Where did you see that?
The bad man drew that a couple of times when he was inviting his friends over.
Oh,
Is that a teleportation thing?
yeah, it's allowing them to bring people in from outside the stronghold.
When,
We know it's good for demons at the moment.
Mary, do you remember anything about how you got to the stronghold?
A little. I was walking through the woods, and I remember thinking that I would have to follow people's tracks as best I could to try to find Nim. And I found a set of tracks, and I was following it, and I was really excited because they looked really new. And then I stumbled into a camp, and there was a bunch of people with hoods on, and I thought maybe that was you guys, and I said hello, and one of them hit me.
Was that the last thing you remember before you were in that place?
So you were in that place ever since.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago did I do it?
It's been 4 months.
Were you the youngest of the people, or were you the last person to be brought in those cages?
No. They brought in lots of people.
Were you the first one in there?
No.
When Nim and I came into that room, those other girls that were in there, had they all been there longer than you?
Yeah. We used to talk through the bars, but they didn't talk much by the end.
But
What
at first
would they say?
Just that they missed their families, they didn't want to be here.
Do you remember anything else about the people or the person who hit you in the first place.
No,
Anything
he
more
was
than
wearing a cloak.
Was there any markings, or was it just a dark cloak?
Just a dark cloak, I think.
How many people do you think were in that cab?
I'm not sure. Maybe 4 or 5.
Were there any emblems on the ground in the camp?
I don't think so. I only saw the emblems later.
Okay.
What happened when we went in? So, when we were going through the forest, we got approached by a human. How many people?
We got surrounded by a lot because of the Maverick thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But they weren't cloaked. They were like actual.
No, they were close.
Oh, they were cloaked. Yeah.
Just traveler's cloak.
Was it a brown cloak that everybody was wearing? I assume it's like a traveler's cloak that was somewhat suited, or like
For
the
you
same
guys?
for everybody.
The
Yeah,
ones
for
that
us.
came to get you were just regular brown, like, traveling through the woods type cloaks.
Were the cloaks of these men or women wearing brown?
No, they were red.
Red cloaks.
Some people do.
And have you seen any of those people again since then?
They all had hoods on. I don't know for sure. I've seen some people that look kind of like them.
Did you notice anything else? Was there any differences in race? Were they all the same height?
Not with the first people, not the ones that hit me, but I do remember a couple of the people that came to visit the bad man. They had, all kinds of clothing, just different. I don't know. They look like regular people, I guess, but they were all very mean.
Have you ever heard the name Wallace?
Uh,
While you're down there, other than what Nim and I were talking about when we were there.
I do remember one guy saying Wallace. He showed up through one of those circles, and then he said, Wallace wants to know what's taking so long.
It's really hard for me to help you guys. I can short.
The red powder.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
That's the red
that's
powder
good.
scared the shit out of me.
I remember thinking it was weird, because that guy didn't look as shady as the others. He looked more, clean?
What does that guy look like?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
He was pretty tall. He had blonde hair. And he was wearing a uniform. It had a blue cloak and red boots and
Sounds like some gaudy colors.
what do you call the shirts with all the rings?
Chainmail.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Chainmail.
So now there's a guy in chainmail and he was blonde. Well,
Blue
that happened
and red
fast.
boots.
Chainmail, you say?
Right.
I assume Dis's countenance would just cloud over with rage. It's like, I knew it was him.
She does kind of she takes that step back.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to frighten you. Also,
This just had all of his first year's revenge.
the guard.
I like how he just immediately ignored the fact that he's seen 80 people with chainmail since he got here.
But they never really did anything other than the first guy who gave me the dirty look and said he was going to kill us with his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at
that's
least
exactly
Dis is
how that
assuming
happened.
exactly.
Do a history check, see if he was wearing blue with red boots.
Good.
I think Dis is actually remember that. I'm going to try to remember though.
I mean, you never know. Sometimes
his
his memory
might
works
just
funny.
be fluid. Maybe it's
I mean,
the
he
magic.
pointed
What's
out the
Wallace's
chainmail
guardian
guy to
form?
all of us, right?
Yes, but none of you, knew why it was important to look at him. It's kind of like if somebody tries to tell you, hey, look at that thing over there, you're looking, but you may not be seeing it with the same significance they are.
All right.
To you, it just looked like a regular guy.
Also on a roll, or I have an 18
what was
for my
Wallace's
board.
guard uniform?
Guard uniform
+2,
was
I think, to history.
brown clokes, gray shirt, and black and
I go
blue,
+1
or
to
black
history, so yeah,
pants
that would
and
help quite
boots.
Okay. Nim foresees that Dis can remember fairly well and uses his portent on Dis.
Curiosity.
Okay. What was your portent roll?
It was an 18.
Okay.
So that's a 19 for history.
+1.
Nim was like, I see disremembering. Remembering.
My memory is coming back.
Let's see. Dis is thinking back. Thinking way back. To the first time he saw this chainmail guy that rubbed him the wrong way. He remembers the things he remembered before. The blonde hair, the blue eyes, and the chainmail. But as he begins to build an image of the man in his mind, he puts each piece of clothing into place. And he realizes that everything matches except the boots. The boots weren't the right color. They were just brown travel boots. But they did look pretty worn out.
Smiles. Honestly, everything in the description matches Chainmail Guy. The original villain, Chainmail Guy.
The original
Except
villain.
for the boots. The color was different. He was wearing traveler boots. Very worn. That being said, he may have had them replaced.
Red boots. That seems pretty unique. We might be able to track down the source of the red boots.
Maybe that outfit has an entire, section we can look into. Sorry, the
If
entire
only-
outfit was a blue cloak.
Only someone ran for Wonder Man.
That's what I was going to say.
I know it was. I finished. You got interrupted.
Sorry, let me write this down. So blue cloak, red boots.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Blonde hair,
Chainmail.
chainmail.
Red.
Just had something cheeky for Lazarus to say. Then
Chainmail.
Was there any
Mary, was there anything else you could remember? Did he have any distinct facial markings? Maybe scars, tattoos, earrings?
I didn't really look at his face too much. They get mad when you do that.
Even he did, despite his... Well, I will tell you one thing.
He didn't get mad. He just stared at us.
Did it?
Like we weren't there.
Be careful around chainmail people. They can't be trusted. Look at our group.
No chainmail people.
No chainmail people.
Not single one.
I love the look that's on everybody's face because everybody's doing the same look of now is that really chainmail guy? Like Jesse's trying to tie the threads together, or is he just doing that so Dis is going to freak out about chainmail guy for another 8 sessions in a row? And it really has nothing to do with the original chainmail guy.
The man playing Dis is wondering the same thing. That being
Could
said.
go either way.
That being said. I feel like there's some fixing here. I'm not sure.
I guess what's everybody else been doing while Dis has been not grilling,
Gently.
lightly interrogating Mary?
Now Nim kind of wants to go back to the laundromat and check his records.
You do know Alex kept pretty stringent records after he came on. Your records were a little looser before that.
I'm actually...
I doubt you were writing down what color everybody's clothing and stuff was, but Alex does stuff like that.
Guys, do you think it would be okay if I asked Lil if she recognized that uniform?
You go first.
I don't think there's too much private information that would be too bad with the ring. I'm gonna touch my ring. Lil, it's Dis. Are you there?
I'm here. Go ahead, Dis.
I had a question for you. Is this a good time?
1 second. And you hear a couple of footsteps, and then a door closing. All right, go ahead.
I had a question for you about uniforms in the Stronghold. Would you recognize a uniform of chainmail, blue cloak with red boots? not an imposing figure so much as maybe like a guard or some type of thing. Mary mentioned them being clean.
I don't think I know any specifically that wear blue cloaks and red boots, but most uniforms are just either the cloak or a shirt. Boots don't usually come into play necessarily with the uniform color, so it could, in theory, be anybody with just a blue cloak. There's a couple of nobles that have that. There's like 2 merchant groups that I think use blue cloaks.
Do you know any guards use that? Any type of soldier around the Stronghold?
The noble houses sometimes have their guard. Nobody on the market rung though. Just higher up in the rungs. More on like the actual noble rung.
How many noble families would you say use the blue cloak? That you know.
Do you know what kind of blue?
I'll ask Mary. Mary, was it like a light blue, a dark blue? The cloak of the chainmail guy.
Pretty dark, I guess.
She says it was a pretty dark blue.
Maybe about 4.
Could you give me their names?
I can get you some information on them, including like where they are and stuff, but you won't be able to get to their rung.
That's okay. Just the information for the future might be very helpful.
Okay, I'll pull some names together.
And if there's any way you could maybe have somebody you know try to find out about somebody wearing the blue cloaks, maybe with those nobles that uses red boots or has been seen wearing red boots.
I can put some feelers out and see what I find.
Thank you, Lil.
All right. Everything all right down there?
I think everything's okay right now.
Okay.
Well, end the call. I'm assuming everybody heard it.
Yeah, you were all right around there.
Thank you, Mary. Your memory's good. It's a good job remembering.
I'm happy to help, I guess.
You sure you feel okay? You don't need more food? Is there anything?
My arms and legs are really sore.
Are they sore around, I'll just point out on my body where around her scabs were, like upper arm?
No, just kind of everywhere.
Everywhere. Just like you were running around a lot and you're that type of sore, or?
I guess, yeah.
So, just exhaustion.
I think, and she kind of she gets up to kind of walk around a little bit just to see how she feels. And when she gets up, she kind of, as she's walking around, she just, I don't know, I guess just kind of sore. And when she walks by Nim, you notice she's taller than Nim now.
How much shorter was she before?
Couple inches.
Is it an explainable growth, or just growth spurt, or?
Hard to say.
Is this yesterday Nim was shorter?
You'd have to do a history check. You're more remembering from before.
Can I do a history, and would I get advantage for remembering it because I picked her up multiple times?
Did you pick her up in the town? Before she came here?
Yeah, I picked her up out of the cage. And...
No, before she came here. Before she came to the Stronghold.
Sorry. No, I wouldn't have.
Because you need something to compare it to.
I was comparing, I was trying to check.
If it was just literally over.
Yeah, the magic.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So that's with advantage.
Yes.
Okay. 21.
She definitely seems taller than she was in the cage.
No, I think she's grown taller since yesterday. I'm gonna try something really quick. It shouldn't harm her at all.
I'm gonna get down on one knee from her. I'm like,
Mary, I'm gonna create some lights around you really quick. They're just pretty lights. You can just touch one of them. It shouldn't hurt you in any way. You might feel a little bit better.
Okay.
I'm gonna create dancing lights around her.
Okay, she kind of, as they kind of, swing around, she does kind of a quick little, they're so pretty. I just touch one of them?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And she kind of reaches out, and when she touches them, not all that surprisingly, they wink out all of a
I
sudden.
want to pay super close attention to her height at the moment she touches it, and then just watch, like, really
roll
close.
an investigation roll.
Advantage? Because I'm paying super close
Yeah,
attention.
I mean, like, you're directly watching her.
I'm fighting for these because my
Yeah, no.
my modifiers are very low.
And you already used your inspiration.
Investigation would be a 18.
Okay. It's almost imperceptible, but you do catch her height increasing just a hair.
Any other physiological reactions to it?
After she touches it, she kind of lets out one of those, like... But other than that...
Do you feel any better? Do your arms feel a little bit less sore?
More sore.
More sore?
They're growing.
Proteins.
Mary, why don't you go and lay down for a little bit? That might help.
Okay, I can do that.
Want me to come with you?
Sure. Okay. You lead her off to the room and you kind of get her set up. That leaves the three of you in the room.
I'm going to, like... Did you close the door and go up?
Okay, door shuts.
So...
It was so disturbing that it broke his accent.
So... Well... so... We can make
the plan now?
We can make her a new party member, just feed her a bunch of magic. She'd be huge.
Yes, though we may perhaps deal with a fully grown girl with a child's mind.
We'll do at this.
We should most likely bring in someone to look at her.
But who? Who could actually be safe enough to look at this?
There's only one for us right now. Mind you, we have to give help and update to that regardless.
Are we thinking somebody...
Okay.
Or maybe we should...
I had to check because I had somebody else in mind.
Yeah, I was going to say... Are we thinking... There's also the possibility of people not in Stronghold. We know some powerful magic users outside.
You do have a possible magic powder.
That's true. Something Kenna mentioned today. Sure wish I had
Everybody's
the
so
nicotine.
unsure. You know what?
Too many drinks.
We can take a break. I'd like to keep going today, though. So let's take a quick break and we'll come back. Wow, what a cliffhanger! I wonder what's going to happen next time. Seriously, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening in. If you liked what you heard, share us with your friends. If you hated what you heard, share us with your enemies. Seriously, though, like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll find out what happens to Double Doubles and Dragons next time.